If you're thinking of selling, whether it's this summer, next year, or you're just starting to turn the idea over, everyone's going to tell you that there's one number to watch. And I'm here to tell you it's the wrong one. That number is days on market. And in this video, I want to walk you through exactly why it's misleading, what number actually really matters, and how to read what the market is telling you at every stage of your listing. My name is Maureen Moran. I'm a broker here in Chicago with App Properties, and I've been working with sellers here on the north and northwest side for a really long time. I'm not going to give you generic real estate advice. I'm going to share with you the same specific data-driven kind of information that I share with my clients every single time before we list. Let's get into it. Days on market, DOM, that's the number on every listing. Here's what it contains: the number of days on the market. That's it. That's the entirety of the information. It does not tell you how many people have seen the listing. It does not tell you how many showings have happened. It does not tell you if the price is the issue, or the floor plan is the issue, or the photos are the issue, or if there was just a major set of graduations in the city and people were tied up with family commitments. It measures time, and time on its own is not a diagnosis. Here's the problem with fixating on it. When days on market starts climbing, sellers panic. And some panicking sellers reach for the first toolbox they can think of, a price reduction. Sometimes that's the right call, and sometimes it isn't. And if you reduce the price when the problem is actually the photos, then you've just given money away for no reason. That's the conversation I want to help you avoid. The number I watch is showings, not just the total showings, the frequency of showings, the volume of showings, but most importantly, what happens after the showings? Are the buyers coming back for a second look? What's the feedback? Do you have any offers? Or is there silence? Showing activity is the market giving you real-time feedback. And if you know how to read it, it tells you almost everything you need to know. Let me give you two scenarios that matter most. Scenario one, your home's been on the market for about 2 or 3 weeks. On average, you're getting about 1 showing a week, and you've had no offers, no second showings. This generally is going to be a pricing conversation. When a home is listed, it enters the market, and the market evaluates it. Buyers who are searching, and there are always active buyers, they're going to take a look at the property. They're going to check the photos, read the description. They're going to compare it to everything that they've already seen, and they're going to determine whether or not it's worth their time to go take a look. If they're consistently saying no, it's because the listing doesn't match their expectations for other properties that they've seen at that price point. This is not a case where they're not coming because they don't know about your listing. They are aware of your listing, and compared to the other homes that are available, they have determined that your home is overpriced, so they're not going to come and see it. That is specific, useful information. It's the market telling you clearly that the price needs to come down before the right buyer comes through. Now, there are some exceptions to this, and it could be that the home isn't being marketed broadly enough and it's not reaching the right buyers, or it could be a case of the pictures are of a really poor quality and the buyer is not staying on the listing long enough to click through and learn more about it. So low showings is a signal that there's an issue, but the diagnosis requires more context. But in a well-marketed home, low showing activity is almost always a sign of price. Scenario 2 is where it gets really interesting. Your home is getting showing 5, 6, or more showings each week. Agents are bringing buyers through and still nothing. No offers, not even lowball offers, just silence. This is a completely different problem, and it's not a price problem. If buyers are scheduling showings, the price is compelling enough to get them in the door. There's something else. It's either in the in-person or the online experience. Something is keeping them from writing. And this is where I want to spend some time, because there are several things that this could be. The listing photos are the very first showing. So before they've even set foot in your home, they've already looked at all the photos and they've created an opinion about your home before they've even come through. I had a buyer, really smart, experienced. We'd seen a lot of things, and this listing came on exactly in the building that she wanted to be in, but the bathroom had just this bright orange, attention-grabbing, but not in a good way, orange tile. The reason she didn't want to even go to see it is because she was in her mind saying, cha-ching, cha-ching, this is going to cost money to change this tile out because this tile is going to be terrible when I'm trying to put makeup on in the bathroom. She just crossed it off her list before ever seeing the rest of the house. That seller never knew she existed, and the market time just kept climbing. And the question everyone was asking was about the price. The price was fine. The photos were the problem. Sometimes the buyer walks through and the space just doesn't live the way the photos gave the impression it would. A room that looked open often feels cramped. A layout that online looked like it made sense, but in person it actually feels awkward. Heavy furniture made a living room look really cozy online, but in person it feels really cramped and small. These are all solvable problems, but they require a different solution than just a price reduction. Sometimes it's removing a piece of furniture. Sometimes it's pulling up a rug. Sometimes it's as simple as putting in brighter light bulbs so the space feels brighter and bigger. These are not expensive interventions, but they require somebody in the home walking through and assessing honestly, asking, what is stopping a buyer who's already walked through from writing an offer? There's one more scenario in this bucket that I want to name because it comes up a little bit more frequently than you might think. It's custom homes. A home where the previous owner made very specific, very personal choices, unusual finishes, unconventional layouts, bold design decisions. It can generate strong showing activity, but buyers look at that and think of all the dollar signs that are going to go into neutralizing that space. So no offers. If a buyer walks through and the very first thing that they're doing is calculating a renovation budget, they are not coming in close to the current list price. That's a real conversation I've had to have. And it's different from your price is too high or your photos need work. It may ultimately require a price adjustment, but it's a specific diagnosis, not a general one. Let me show you what this looks like in the actual Chicago market right now. I pulled the most recent data from the past 7 days from MRED and Showing Time for the neighborhoods that I work mostly in. So Lincoln Park, Lakeview, Bucktown, Wicker Park, Logan Square. Here's what the numbers show. In Lincoln Park, homes are averaging 14 days on the market, and they're selling at an average of 7% over list. The average sale price is $1.19 million. In Lakeview, the average days on market is 11 days, with homes selling 4% over list with an average sale price of $800,000. Logan Square and Bucktown are averaging 15 days on the market with 3% over list and an average sale price of $973,000. Westtown is 15 days on market, 6% over list, and an average sale price of $848,000. These are not slow market numbers. They are moving quickly and above ask. Now here's the number that I find most revealing. According to the Showing Time data for May of 2026, in all of these neighborhoods, it's taking about, on average, 8 to 9 days to go from market to contract. Lincoln Park and Lakeview are both at 9 showings, and Bucktown, Wicker Park, Logan, those are all at 8 days. Westtown. And here's what's remarkable about this. In all these neighborhoods, the numbers are the same from 2025 and from 2024. For 3 consecutive years in the midst of rate volatility, economic uncertainty, headlines, the showings to contract has barely moved. It's been 8 to 9 consecutively every year. The demand is stable. The buyers are there. What changes is a home's ability to be positioned to capture the attention of the market and the buyers. There's one more thing I want to touch on because it comes up with sellers every single year. The market has a rhythm, and sometimes a quiet stretch has nothing to do with your home. I've had listings that have had minimal showing activity, maybe 1 a week, maybe less, and then all of a sudden I have multiple offers at the end of a Sunday open house. Nothing changed about the house, nothing changed about the price. What changed was the buyer pool. May, June is graduation season in Chicago. May and June are graduation season in Chicago. Weekends fill up, families get busy, life happens. Buyers who are looking actively temporarily pull back, not because they've lost interest, but because life interrupted their search, and then they come back. And when they come back, they often come back with more clarity. They've had time to think about everything that they've seen. They understand the market better now than they did in April. They're often ready to move more quickly. I've watched buyers who are non-committal in the spring become committal in June. A quiet weekend is not always a red flag. Sometimes it's just a graduation weekend. Knowing the difference between a timing issue and a structural issue is one of the most valuable things an experienced listing agent brings to the table. What do you do when your home isn't moving? Before you reduce the price, and sometimes reducing the price is the right thing, ask yourself these 3 questions. First, are you getting showings? If the answer is no, in a market that is normally active, then it's probably time to start the pricing conversation. If the answer is yes, then move to question 2. Second, are you getting feedback? Are you starting to see a pattern of feedback? What are buyers saying about your home? If multiple buyers are saying the same thing, like the kitchen needs work, or the bedroom is too small, or the yard needs work, this is information, and listen to it, take it seriously. Third, take an honest look at your listing photos. Take a look at them on your phone the way a buyer would. Are they inviting? Is there anything that would keep a buyer from moving forward? Is there anything that stands out to you? If the answer is yes, consider a reshoot. Maybe change up the light bulbs, do some staging, just reposition your home by changing the photos. That can go a long way, and it doesn't cost you any money. Walk through the home with fresh eyes. Is there anything that gives the buyer pause? Is there anything that interrupts the traffic flow? Because a buyer wants to walk in and take in the space. They want to place their own furniture where your furniture is. They need to have a lot of negative space so they can begin to position themselves in your home. If there's a problem, then you can just rework that. Maybe you need to pack up a personal collection. Maybe you need to move some furniture out. Just give the buyer an opportunity to begin envisioning themselves living in your home. These small adjustments can really move the needle, maybe even more so than a price reduction would. Here's what I've learned after years of doing this. The sellers who are the ones who have had the best outcomes are the ones that prepared most thoughtfully and responded to feedback from the market. And the preparation conversation, the one that happens before we get ready to go on the market, is the one where the most important decisions are made. Where to price, how to stage, when to list, what the photos need to do, how to read the market when you're actually in the market. Those conversations take time, and the sellers that are most open to having them are the ones that benefit the most. They're less reactive, less stressed, and more prepared for what the market brings. If you're thinking about selling, even if it's early, even if you haven't decided yet, even if you're just curious, let's just have a conversation. There's no pressure, no obligation, just an honest look at your home, your timeline, and what the market's telling us right now. I'm Maureen Moran with App Properties Christie's International Real Estate. Thanks for watching. I hope you found it useful. And if you know somebody who's looking to buy or sell, please share it with them.